to at least like and respect the teacher if you're going to learn from them. And so how do you build a relationship with someone who's not showing up as who they are?
So I consider myself equally as part of the community and more of a coach or facilitator versus, kind of a stand and deliver and, I am the teacher. So I try to use, instead of saying things simply like my students, it's so slight, but they aren't really my students. They're the students that I work with. And so that my versus with, I think, seems so subtle in semantics, but has really large meaning. And when you are seen as a co-member of the community or a team, I feel like your voice equally matters. It's so ironic that a lot of times in teachers, we put ourselves in this pressure of having to know all the answers, and it's the exact opposite of the mentality that we want our students to take. So just that idea of thinking about the students that I work with versus my students slightly shifts the power from me to us. And I feel that hopefully that's a small stepping stone that students can take in feeling like they're a member of a community, a collaborative community that's going through an equal learning process along with the adult in the room.
So Renee, we know how important it is to have really positive relationships with our colleagues. Can you talk a little bit about how do you cultivate those kinds of relationships?
One thing that stands out to me is that our leadership team actually made us all leaders. Every single person on the staff was a leader in some capacity. Looking back on that was really important learning experience. Number one, it just feels different when you're in charge of something and people are relying on you, and it kind of takes the burden off of just one person running an entire school. But it also really encouraged us to lean on one another. So if I'm the lead in literacy and one of my partners is the lead in math, then we're going to come together and kind of share those ideas. But the leadership team made every single person on staff famous for something. And we often rotated our staff meetings. It was something so simple to like the person's place or space that was famous, and it became like a big deal. So in my first year of teaching, my teaching needed a lot of growth, but I had a really organized classroom. So I became famous for like the organized classroom and the way to set up your classroom library. And we would hold a staff meeting in there.
Especially it's such a person-to-person profession that, we also don't want to run the risk of seeming like we are difficult to work with, right? The idea that if I do it my way with my spin, that it might run afoul of what our department or district or school vision is. But I think there's a way to toe that line. I think that we can maintain our personality, our persona, our philosophies of what we value with our students without necessarily veering too far from the core beliefs of a school.
At the end of the day, we're not just grades or standards, we're people. And that's one of the ways that we can build these strong communities that go beyond just the four walls of our classrooms and schools, is everyone getting to share who they are outside of school as well. And so what a powerful way to think about building relationship is there's nothing extra you have to really do other than show up and share who you are.